Welcome, Aquarius, to your May 2021 reading. Thanks so much for tuning into my channel. Now, this month I'm offering a special where you can ask a question and I will get back to you. I'll shuffle my cards and I'll pull out a card and get back to you. Now, normally I offer free mini readings for new subscribers and I'm still going to be doing that. So if you want to click that subscribe button and you want to get a free mini reading, just make sure you put new subscriber before you ask your question. And I'll give you a little bit more of an in-depth mini reading on your question. But if you're not interested in subscribing, but you've just got something on your mind, maybe a yes or no answer, you can just ask your question below and I will get back to you. So that is for existing subscribers or someone who doesn't want to be a subscriber. So just put your question down below. Now also I must apologize for the lateness of this reading. I'm not at my current location and the internet is very slow, so these will probably be uploaded in the first part of May, but don't worry, this will last 4 to 6 weeks anyway from when you're hearing this. But let's get into your reading. Now, you start out the energy with the Two of Swords. Now, this is a bit of a stalemate situation that you are going through here. And this could potentially be with a Taurus, just because it is above the Hierophant card, which does represent Taurus, or it could be with a Gemini as well, because it's beside the Lovers card and this does represent Gemini. Or you could be involved in the middle of this kind of conflict between these two people as well and having to sort of be the mediator here. But the Two of Swords is a situation where there is, as I said, things aren't moving forward. It's stalemate. And it might call for a temporary truce here until a sort of clearer head prevails, if you want to put it that way. This is maybe some conflict that has been happening with you and another person, and you really need to just take a step back and ask yourself, what's going on here? Maybe think clearly, because when you get into that stalemate situation where no one can move forward or back, no one's giving in, maybe it might be worth your while to take a step back, And sometimes this can talk about you being at odds with yourself, but in this particular reading, I'm feeling this is an external kind of conflict that is going on here. But, part of the issue when the Two of Swords does turn up is you're not wanting to face the issues at hand, and therefore that's preventing you from moving forward. And it could be that the decision that you need to make is just too painful, so you're kind of pushing it away and you're not wanting to make a decision that is needed to be made. I mean, all twos that show up, there is a requirement to make a little bit of a decision about which way you're going to go here, and you might be needing to make a choice to move forward. But you've kind of really got to release yourself from this situation. And if you have been avoiding someone or something, you have to kind of release yourself from that. You can't avoid it any longer. And that will set you free from this position of not being able to move forward or backward. There might potentially be a war of wills with someone else, and if that is the case, the cards really ask you to sort of find a compromise or seek mediation from a third party. But as I said, you could potentially be the third party in a situation here where there is some conflict and you are needing to get in there and help mediate a situation as well. And it's interesting, I'm feeling there is a question here that comes up where you might need to ask yourself, is the battle worth the fight, so to speak? Is the battle worth all of this? Is it better just to walk away? But you do have the Lovers card here, and that is the card of Gemini, as I did say. And this is interesting that it's right next to that Seven of Cups, because often, I mean, the Lovers card does talk about a situation of pure love. You know, you potentially might be involved in a new relationship here. Again, this could be to do with a Taurus or a Gemini. I mean, don't get too hung up on the star signs. Often this talks more about the character of the people than the star signs themselves. But just because these are specific to these cards, the star signs are specific to these cards, that's why I'm kind of calling out these star signs. But there could be an issue for some of you where you are having to choose between two people in a love relationship, because that often does talk about a choice there, and it often can mean in love. But you don't have any cups in this reading, so I'm feeling like there is an important choice here. Oh, sorry, what am I saying? You've got the Seven of Cups here. So this could very well be a choice in love, but my feeling here is more so this is a choice that you're needing to make regarding your career or where you're at in life right now. And you're in a position where you have a lot of wonderful opportunities ahead of you. You know, that Seven of Cups talks about being in a place where you've got so much in front of you that you can choose from. But with this particular card, this can also mean you have so many options in front of you that sometimes it's difficult to choose. And this is creating that stalemate situation that the Two of Swords is talking about, where we aren't able to make the decision, so therefore we're kind of stuck. But as soon as you make it, as soon as you just choose, you are then able to move forward freely. And I see success here for you, Aquarius. This is quite lovely. But just to go back to that Lovers card, I do apologise, I often jump forward, but the cards tell me a story, so it's not linear in their messages when I do a reading, particularly because this is a general reading and it's only very short. I'm not pulling out extra cards. The messages come through all over the place. So just to go back to that Lovers card, as I said, this is beautiful, loving, wonderful energy. And, you know, more often than not, this is about a new relationship, a long-lasting relationship. But now for some of you, there is, you know, in a long-standing relationship, there could be some conflict here. The Lovers card is right above the Five of Swords, which is a card of conflict. But this is, there could be marriage here for some. I'm sorry, there are so many layered messages coming through, and this is because it is a general reading. So there could be some options here about you getting married or settling down, where you want to settle down, where you want to build your home, how you want to build your life together. These are some of the issues that could be coming up for a lot of you as well. But moving on to the Seven of Cups now, with this important choice that you do need to make. When you look at this particular imagery, you can see some beautiful things in the cups to offer. You know, there's a beautiful person there that you could choose. There's a beautiful home, there's a castle, there's a couple of beautiful things, but then in one of the cups there's a snake. And so you need to really be careful as well. Be careful what you wish for here. It is a message that comes up with the Seven of Cups. But I feel like this could, as I said, potentially have something to do with your relationship, your love, your home, a strong foundation it's just above the Four of Wands there, and this is often the marriage card. And you know, you've got the Hierophant there too, which is also often talks about marriage. So there could absolutely be a marriage here for some Aquarians that is coming up. It's quite interesting. You know, the Lovers, the Hierophant, and the Four of Wands, absolutely seeing a marriage here for some of you. So you'll have to let me know in the comments as well if I'm on track there, because that's really quite interesting to see. But that Seven of Cups, this is this is a card of indecision a little bit as well. And I do feel like this is linked with that Two of Swords a little bit too. And this stalled feeling, I feel like, yeah, sometimes the answer is finding the right action to take. It lies in doing a little bit more research, a little bit more study, and being more proactive here. But you know, you could potentially just be procrastinating. You don't want to make this choice. Yeah, I feel for some of you this is to do with a home, or maybe your house, your home, something like that. Now, often, just on a side note, the Seven of Cups can also be an indicator of addiction. And so if the question that you, if you've got a question in mind about dependency or unhealthy behaviours, when this card comes up, there could potentially be a little bit of a cause for concern. But again, you know, this is just a general reading, so take what resonates here, Aquarius, and just let all the rest go. But I feel like, you know, this could be just you not wanting to make a particular decision, and this is causing that stalemate. Now you have got the Page of Swords, and this would normally be the card of Aquarius. So I feel like you are showing up in your own reading here. So this is very significant. Now you may just be dealing with another Aquarian, but that Page of Swords, swords are all about your mind, your thoughts, your intellect. So I feel like there is a new inquisitiveness that you've got, and Page of Swords are often messages, or all pages are messages or messengers, and you know, this could be information that's coming in that's very useful to you, and it might just be talking about some temporary delays, or maybe some changes that are going to be coming in to some plans that you had been thinking about implementing. You know, and these messages can often come in, perhaps not delivered as softly as we would like, but that doesn't mean that the information's not really useful and helpful, and you know, it's quite informative. So this is that sort of message that will be coming in May for you. Yeah, so don't shoot the messenger. This can even just talk about legal documents. It can even be talking about constructive criticism. But take it on board, because it is going to help you. But, you know, for some, this could even just be gossip, people gossiping about you. But I'm not seeing... there could be a little bit of gossip there from these people, because you do have a few people here, but nothing too debilitating, I don't think. Now, just back to that Hierophant card that I did touch on earlier. Now, this is technically a card of institutions, so religious institutions, corporate institutions, universities, institutions for learning. So for some of you, this marriage, the institution of marriage. So as I said before, some of you are definitely getting married here. some of you are perhaps going to choose to go back to school and learn some things, and there could be a bit of a stalemate situation when it comes to that as well. You might not be wanting to proceed in that particular direction, whether it's marriage, whether it's study. You might be wanting to do things outside of the box and buck the trend of what other people expect of you, and this could also be causing a little bit of conflict in your life. But I think it's really listening to your intuition here and knowing which way to go. And also what this card talks about, on the other hand, is it's a very multi-layered card, a multi-layered message in this particular card. But this one also talks about spending time with like-minded people who can help you develop your own skills. And this often does talk about spiritual gifts, because this card was traditionally called the Pope. So for some of you, you could be quite interested in spirituality, in religion, in developing that side of you. So there could be a teacher that is coming in that is going to be helping you in regards to that. But, again, any kind of schooling, religious schooling, any kind of learning facility, you might be becoming involved in that. Now, also, just on a side note, just because I see these swords around you, the 2 and the 5, this can sometimes indicate that there are certain rules that have been imposed on you, whether it's by society or by your family, and they don't serve you anymore. And when this card comes up, it's sort of saying you should really cast off any sort of constraints that are put on you in favour of new guidelines that lead you toward a path that you want to follow. And these can be your own guidelines, or guidelines from a different group of people rather than what society is normally saying. And you can follow your own pathway here. And this does often cause conflict. So, and I do see, like I said, I do see a little bit of conflict showing up here for you in May. But sometimes when it comes to that sort of thing, particularly if you are fighting for something that you believe in, sometimes it is worth the fight. But, sometimes it's not. And sometimes, as hard as you might try, you don't always make the right choices. But everything happens for a reason, and you are going to learn by whatever is going on, and that's going to help you in similar situations in the future. You can learn from them. But when the 5 of Cups actually does show up in a reading, sometimes it's saying, do you really want to go in this particular direction? Is it going to make you happy? And this card shows up to kind of shed some light on some decisions that you might be required to make. And so when this card comes up, it's actually really good, because it might give you the opportunity to make a bit of a course correction, and it's going to save you a lot of trouble in the future. So that's another message here. Now also, this card comes up when it's giving you a bit of a warning that there might be other people around you that have different motives than you do, and their reasons for what they're doing may or may not be questionable, but they're just not in line with yours. So communication can really create an environment where everyone's integrity can be confirmed. So it's really good to open up. But the final message for the 5 of Swords is asking you to really consider if there is a fight that you are needing to have, or some conflict that you are becoming involved in. You will win. There is the card. You have the victory card here. But you really have to ask yourself the question about whether like I think I mentioned it earlier, whether the battle is actually worth it. Because often in this particular card, you'll see the warrior standing there with his 5 swords. He's got all the swords, he's won. But he looks around at the battlefield and there are just dead bodies everywhere. It's carnage. So you have to really choose your battles wisely when it comes to this particular card. Now, the 4 of Wands here, this again is talking about structures. You know, all 4s are strength in, you know, when you have a structure that is with 4 sides, 4 corners, that's very strong. It's one of the strongest sort of structures, particularly building a house. That's why we build our house like this, our houses in that shape often. But this is a wonderful time of strength and abundance and comfort and peace. And it also talks about the promise of a joyful life. So even though you've got some of these cards about stalemate, about conflict, I feel like you are going to choose very wisely here, and you are going to get the promise of a joyful life. And all of the hard work that you've put in, you're going to really be acknowledged. And you're really going to be appreciated. And as I said, the 4 of Wands and the 6 of Wands, this is talking about success. This is talking about starting a new family as well, the 4 of Wands. You could be making some choices about starting a family, making some choices about getting married, building a home, or all 3 together. You know, this is what I'm seeing perhaps. Now, there could be a bit of a conflict here with your family in regards to somebody that you want to marry, you want to be with. But it's just really time to express gratitude when you get that 4 of Wands to the wonderful people in your life, and as well as to your angels and to the universe for really helping you out here. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful card. So I feel like you're ending the month with a bang here, because your final card, your final tarot card anyway, is the 6 of Wands, and this is a card, it's called the Victory card. So I feel like you've just made such great strides in your journey when this card comes up, and all of the trouble of the 5s, you know, particularly here in this instance, the 5 of Swords, that's going to be resolved. And you are riding into town to applause if you look at this particular card. And also, this is really talking about information that's headed your way that's going to make you so happy. And it's interesting, it's right below the Messenger card, the Page of Swords. So you're going to be getting some really nice information that's going to make you so happy. Now, you might get an award, you might get a promotion, or you might even just get, you know, some great contracts that you've been waiting for coming in. If there's a creative project that you've been wanting to do, you might be told that you know, that book's going to be published, your song's going to be played on air, or your YouTube channel's going to go through the roof. It's, you know, there's some great news coming in here for you. But I feel like for a lot of you, you might even get recognised for your accomplishments in a public way, you know. So, and if you are in the public arena, it's time to really self-promote or market yourself and get out there, because there is success. It's wonderful. Now, your final card of all from the Gateway Oracle deck is Dwelling in Truth. And this deck, I think this card actually came out for another sign. I can't remember which one. You might have to look it up. But the affirmation for this card is, I stand in the light of truth. And the meaning of this card is, the soul loves the truth. Be honest with yourself and listen to your inner guidance. Follow it by speaking your truth. To thine own self be true. You radiate the energy of truth to others so that they can find their truth. The universe wants you to know There is a place inside of you that always knows the truth. Take time to be still, to discover that genuine place of knowing within. Often the hardest thing about living your truth is discovering what it is, so it's important to slow down, be quiet, and listen to the whispers of your soul. If there's an area of your life in which you're not being authentic or where you're not living in integrity, this is the time to make some changes. And that's a really important message, Aquarius. And I feel like this can really have a lot to do with that Hierophant card. You know, this is you wanting to proceed in a manner that makes you happy. So dwell in your truth is very important. So I'll leave it there, Aquarius. Don't forget, take me up on that special that I've got this month of asking a question, and I'll get back to you. And again, as I said earlier, if you want to subscribe, you will still get that free mini reading. Just make sure you put new subscriber before your question, and you will get your answer. I'll go into depth in your answer. So have a great month, and I hope to see you next month. Bye.